Coming up on this week's edition of AU Hoop Talk, we'll look back to the game against Loyola. Athletics Director Dr. Billy Walker joins us to talk about Hall of Fame Day, and we'll look forward to the contest against Lehigh. AU Hoop Talk starts right now. And welcome to the show, and let's talk about the game against Loyola. A tight game. Unfortunately, a game the Eagles came up short on, 72-69 on the road. Another tough one for the guys, but right there at the end.
I was happy that they battled back. I thought we didn't play well at all, in the first half, offensively, defensively. Obviously we're talking about the youth and experience, all that kind of stuff, but then they're not gonna play well all the time either, even when they're trying hard and doing all the stuff that you're asking them to do. So I was happy that they, we regrouped, battled back, got ourselves back in the game, just came up a little short.
Now, in the second half, you went to the 1-3-1, and that really sort of helped change the complexion of the game. Talk about the decision to do that, and frankly, how happy you were with it.
It just allowed the guys to be more aggressive. I don't think it's something that we can probably sustain for an entire game or an entire half, but for little bursts, maybe we can, sort of do it, maybe try it in the first half in our next game or something like that. But I thought the guys, they were just being aggressive, and then once they, got a steal, created a turnover, scored in transition, got an open shot, sort of energized them a little bit. So maybe it's something that we have to think about doing more often.
So it's something that you think we'll probably see a little bit more often?
We'll see. We'll see how the game goes. If we think we need to do something like that to get the guys moving, and because a lot of times, especially with freshmen, a guy like Stacy and Marvin, they're trying to figure out when to be aggressive, when not to be, when to just run the offense, when not, try not to make mistakes, but still try to have an impact. So when you press and you sort of up the defensive aggression, it sort of carries over to offense sometimes. So, we'll see if we need to do that.
Now, Stacy had a pretty good game. Stacy Becton equaled his season high, which means career high, with 11 points.
Stacy was good. We need him to continue to be more aggressive. I think with each game, with each day, he's getting more and more comfortable. His habits and practice have been great, and I think his instincts and his decision making I trust offensively. So I think we need to just continue to encourage him to be as aggressive as possible, because if he is, I think he'll wind up making a good play.
How much is Saeed helping kind of bring him along? Saeed obviously has a year under his belt, and continues to have a pretty good season this year. How much does he help bring the youngsters along?
Saeed's been great. He's constantly just talking to these guys about what they need to be thinking about, where they need to be, trying to encourage them, especially Stacy, because he sees it too, that Stacy can have an impact. So he's more so with Stacy than anybody, trying to get him to be more aggressive. It hasn't been an easy season for Saeed, because we expect him to do so much, but he's been handling it well, and continuing to work hard and lead and do all the right things.
Now, you talk about Saeed. How about the game that he had against Loyola? Career best 31 points, which at one point was over half the points that you guys had.
Right, yeah. And obviously every team knows that he's our main offensive threat. So everyone's sort of focused on him. All five guys know where he is at all times. So, for him to be able to do that, despite, the attention that he gets, says a lot about his game. We just continue, we need continued efforts like that from him. And then hopefully these other guys will be able to contribute and sort of get us over the hump. Because it seems like each game we're in the same position. Every game they're fighting. They're right there. They have a chance to win. It's just a possession or two in each half that sort of leaves us short. So we just got to get over that hump.
And speaking of getting over that hump, we'll talk about maybe how the Eagles can get over the hump in the game upcoming against Lehigh. That's upcoming later on the show. Time for a timeout. Back with more after this on AU Hoop Talk.
In the Patriot League, our playbooks look a little different. Here, we play to win on the field, in the classroom, and in the community. A competitive athletic experience with high academic standards. Today's scholar athlete, tomorrow's leaders. That's the Patriot League.
Welcome to our sleepy little college town. You may have heard of us. Here we stand up for causes as naturally as we sit down for classes. We believe that knowledge, understanding, and discovery will make the world a better place, and that our contributions are only limited by our imaginations. Words, medals, and degrees don't make us who we are. Meaningful change does.
We are American.
And there's nothing we would rather be.
Welcome back to AU Hoop Talk, and we're now joined by Athletics Director Dr. Billy Walker, and thanks for coming in for your yearly visit. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Dan. I'm happy to be here, and I'm even more excited that you have your duck shirt on that you wear once a year.
Well, I know that it's tough to get you on the show, and that this is the only way to get you on the show is to wear the shirt.
Wear the mallard
this
shirt.
Ridiculous shirt.
It's a beauty.
Yeah,
I love it.
It only comes out the closet a couple times a year. It's a big time here at American University, a fun time because it's Hall of Fame weekend.
Yes.
And this weekend, 3 new athletes are being inducted into the Hall of Fame. Tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, we're really excited. We got 3 unbelievable former Eagles, student athletes. Or I shouldn't say former Eagle. Once an Eagle, always an Eagle, right? They're still.
Right.
But when they were here as competitors, first Maureen Daniel, who's a field hockey player, and Coach Jennings will say that she was the anchor on the defense that really got us started on our run of being a national contender in field hockey. So she was critical to the development of our program. Sean Duffy, a cross-country and track runner, who still has 6 top 10 records on our records books, even though he's been out of school for over 10 years. So that's pretty impressive. And then, of course, Josh Glenn, who's our only individual national champion for wrestling, and one of only 2 national champions total from our university. So it's a great class, and he was also a 3-time All-American as well. So it's a great class, and we're really, really excited about having the induction ceremony this Saturday.
Yeah, and it's 3 obviously well-deserving
as
student athletes that are going in. It always is, but this
Right.
year's class seems to be a real standout and a special time. Speaking of special times, the men's basketball program's been a part of now Hall of Fame weekend, and a couple weeks ago had a chance to celebrate the 10th anniversary of the first tournament team.
Yeah.
And that was a pretty fun time too, seeing all the guys come back.
Yeah, it was really neat. Obviously, I wasn't here for when we won it and went to the tournament, so I'd heard a lot about it in my first few years here, and all the names. And I've met a few of those guys, but not that many of them all at once. And it was really neat to see them back and to see them really enjoying each other's company and watching repeats of the game and of the first championship game, and then honoring them at halftime of our game here. It was really neat to have them back, and I think it was good for our kids that are playing right now to see those guys and to see what they can do and the camaraderie and the cohesiveness that they still have on that team. And it was really good for them, obviously, to come back and be part of the institution here at American as well. So it was really neat.
Especially with this year's men's team being so young, it's cool to be able to see
Yep.
the fruits of one's
Right.
labor that it can indeed
Right.
result in
Absolutely.
in a tournament team. Well, we're in Washington D.C. and of course that means it's State of the Union time around this time of the year. So let's talk about the state of AU athletics. Let's talk about the state of this union.
Sure. Well, I guess we can start in the fall. We had a good fall. There was highs and lows, but volleyball winning the championship again, 15th Patriot League championship out of the last 17 years, which is unbelievable. So Coach Goldberg does just a ridiculously good job on that. It's almost the point where you would be surprised, obviously, if he didn't win it. So he does a great job, and we got most of our student athletes back next year. So we should be pretty tough in volleyball again next year. Field hockey, we had a really a great year. Got to the playoffs. We lost in the semifinals in a game that we actually dominated in shots. It wasn't even close, and it's just sometimes it happens. Bucknell's goalie played a fantastic game, and then we lost in penalty strokes. So that was disappointing, even though it was a great season. We're both really young this year, so they're still developing, and hopefully we're gonna see improvements next year. Sean Graham had just come on board for cross country, but a lot of our kids had been setting personal bests already, so we're really excited about where the direction Sean's taken our track and cross country programs. And then in the winter, you talked about men's basketball a little bit, struggling right now. They're young, but I know Mike really loves the effort and the heart on this team, and these young guys are playing hard and they're practicing hard every day. So we're going to see that pay off down the road. I know for a fact we will. Teague Moore Wrestling, we got 4 guys that are ranked in the country right now, and so we're hoping to get at least a couple of them on the podium in March at the NCAA tournament in Cleveland. We're really excited about that. Swimming, we're having some great success in the pool with Mark right now, so that's exciting. And then obviously women's basketball right now, they're 12-0 in the league. They're on a 13-0 run after beating Penn State in overtime. That kind of kick-started them, and they haven't looked back yet. So had another exciting one last night. We hope to continue that. Coach Jebby is doing a fantastic job. We're really balanced on that team. That's what's really nice. And so if someone's not having a great night, other players pick them up. The teammates pick her up, and that's really worked out well this year. So we're excited about the rest of the basketball season as well.
Now you look at the women's basketball program, and they're having the honorary coach thing. Why haven't you done it? We've had David Aldridge, we've had Susan Rice, we have a lot of big name people come in and do it. What are we gonna
I'm not a basketball coach. No, yeah, it's been really neat. The President Burwell did it. Like you said, David Aldridge, that was really neat. Ambassador Rice, they really enjoyed doing it. And Coach Jebbia, unlike, I don't think I could have done that when I was coaching, because I think that would have just disrupted everything too much for me, to have somebody on the bench. But Coach Jebbia loves it, and she's so good with welcoming them in as part of the team for that day, and including them in everything they do in the locker room. And it's really a neat program, and she does a fantastic job with it. And it's the main reason we want to do it is to really to integrate across campus, right? So we have professors do it, we have academic advisors, we did a lot of different areas on campus to get them involved in athletics and see what our student athletes do before and during every competition, and to see how involved it is, and to see what our coaches do, and how much they care about our student athletes. And it really pays big dividends across campus to promote that unity, right?
And the cohesiveness.
Yeah, exactly.
And we talk about that. Well, I know you're pleased with the GPA, the fall semester's GPA of 3.4. That's a standout.
Yeah. So traditionally, our fall GPAs are lower than the spring for a number of reasons. Freshmen just getting on board, they're getting adjusted to college life and that. So a 3.4 ties our highest of all time for a fall GPA, and the previous high was last year. So we've had our 2 highest fall GPAs on record those last two falls, and the spring semester last spring was a 3.47, which is the highest GPA period on record. So we've gone back to back with really good semesters, and I attribute that to just the culture on their program. So the coaches promote that, and they really take it seriously, and the upperclassmen. That's they promote and nurture that climate. So when a freshman gets on the team and they get on a bus coming back from a competition, and all the upperclassmen get their books out and start studying, freshmen think, well, I guess that's what we do, right? We start studying. So it's a culture on these teams, and that's what I'm proud to see.
Yeah, it's not just what movie are we throwing on,
right,
and doing that. It's let's get the books out, let's study,
right,
study in a
and
group.
You've been on enough trips, you see that, right?
No, absolutely. I see you're wearing Under Armour.
I am.
There.
Of course.
It's a new contract, a new deal that the athletics department has with Under Armour. How's it going? How did it come about? And there's a lot to it.
Sure. Yeah, it was a couple-year process, actually, and Under Armour's been a fantastic partner. you know, we were working through the details on lining up when we could go to them fully across all of our programs. So it's been a great program. We got a fantastic deal from Under Armour, and I don't like to look at it just like that, like a one-side thing. It's really a partnership. If you look across the campus now, you're going to see more branding, and you know, we already have new windscreens out on the fields, and we got Under Armour logos in the gym for volleyball and wrestling. The backdrop that we have Under Armour, you know, that they've helped us with that. Our women's soccer team, as soon as we signed it, 2 days later, they didn't know what was going on. They got on a bus, went up to the Under Armour campus, and worked out at their pit and their workout area, which was really, really neat. And they were excited because they didn't even know they were going to go up there. So it was really cool for them, and they get the tour of the Under Armour labs and everything that's up there at their headquarters in Baltimore. So that's pretty cool. Internships going forward, we're going to be working with them on that, and so it's like I said, an overall partnership with them, and it's a 7-year deal right now, and we couldn't be happier. It's been going great.
And you get some great gear.
Yeah, we want to make sure we're flying the flag, so to speak.
Yeah. Big change this year at the top of the university with President Kerwin leaving and President Burwell coming in. Talk about that transition and how it affects, and if it's affected, athletics, because President Kerwin was such a believer,
right,
such a supporter of athletics at so many events. And I see President Burwell here at a lot of events as well. Just talk about that relationship.
Yeah, sure. Sure. You know, when President Kerwin was leaving, you're always worried about that. You know, because he was such a fan and supported us so well. But we haven't skipped a beat because President Burwell is fantastic. She like I said, she coached one of the guest coach, and they won obviously when she did it. And she comes to our events. She comes to different senior days that we have, and anything that she can make. She's across campus everywhere. The students across the campus love her, and so she's really busy, and she's still finding time to do a lot of things with us in the athletic department. So we're really excited to have her. She's fantastic. She's a great leader. She's very, very smart and catches on to things really quickly. And she's been fantastic. So we couldn't be more excited about having her as our university president.
Well, the state of AU athletics is a good one, and thank you today for stopping by and discussing it.
Absolutely, Dan. Thanks.
Athletics Director Dr. Billy Walker right there, back with more AU Hoop Talk after this.
In the Patriot League, our playbooks look a little different. Here, we play to win on the field, in the classroom, and in the community. A competitive athletic experience with high academic standards. Today's scholar athlete, tomorrow's leaders. That's the Patriot League.
Welcome to our sleepy little college town. You may have heard of us. Here we stand up for causes as naturally as we sit down for classes. We believe that knowledge, understanding, and discovery will make the world a better place, and that our contributions are only limited by our imaginations. Words, medals, and degrees don't make us who we are. Meaningful change does.
We are American.
And there's nothing we would rather be.
Welcome back to AU Hoop Talk, and Coach, let's jump into the game that's upcoming against the Lehigh Mountain Hawks, and a chance to get the season split, the regular season split, drop the game up there at Lehigh by 10 points. You had another close game for you guys, but up there you did a good job of distributing it. 4 players in double digits as far as scoring goes.
Yeah, we need to do that again. Make sure that we're sort of sharing the ball. We need everybody to contribute. I thought we were penetrating, we were getting to the rim and kicking it out, so we need to do that again, and then just be more efficient on defense.
Yeah, and you mentioned about penetrating. We also stuck 12 threes in that game, so you were able to kind of do a little bit of everything.
Yeah, and when you make shots, that always helps. Our win against BU, we made shots. We played, well at times offensively against Lehigh, and it's, the ball's got to go in. So that's a big part of it. So 1 is getting open shots, and 2, making them.
And then you have Lehigh, you have Karan Ross. He's a senior, and since he stepped foot on campus, he's been a distributor and been a force to be reckoned with. He had 8 assists the first time that you guys played him.
Yeah, no, he does a really good job of just getting in the paint and making sure that everybody touches the ball, whether it's hitting guys rolling to the basket or kicking it out to open teammates for threes. He's been a handful, like you said, since he's been in the league. He's real comfortable. He knows that he needs to make his teammates better in order for them to be good, and that's what he's doing.
Lance Tejada is their leading scorer, and in conference, he's shooting over 50% from three-point range. What are some things you can do to try to confuse him, get in his way, provide a hiccup to his game?
Yeah, he's a tough guard. His role is to shoot and score. So he's sort of playing pretty free out there. Ross handles most of the responsibility handling the ball. You got shooters, you got Andre, you got Lefroy on the perimeter that also occupy attention, and then Karnick and just at the rim. So they're sort of solid at every spot, and then you got Tejada just running around feeling pretty free. And he's a scorer. He's not just a shooter; he can score. He's a handful. So we just, again, like I always say, it's a team effort. We just got to know where he is, be alert, sort of not give up easy open ones. Make him work for everything he gets.
Now, you mentioned Karnick, and it seems like Dr. Brett Reed, the coach at Lehigh, it seems like every time that, every season, that they have a big that has an influence and it has an impact, and Karnick is doing that right now. Is it something about his system, or is it just the luck of the draw that he happens to get the right guy in there, or is it the right guy for his system?
Karnick's a strong kid, aggressive player, athletic. He's different than Kempton. For 4 years, Kempton can score himself. He was a handful on his own, whereas Karnick, I think, is the sort of the recipient of all the good players around him. I think he's mostly catching, rolls to the basket and finishing. And because the perimeter guys occupy so much attention, he's, involved, just on little dump offs and offensive rebounds. And, he's doing his job by doing those things and being consistent. So it's the perimeter guys, I'd say, that are the main weapons, and he's sort of benefiting from those guys.
Well, that'll do it for this edition of AU Hoop Talk as the Eagles look to get in the win column over the weekend against Lehigh on Hall of Fame Day. Our thanks to Coach, and be sure and keep up with everything Eagles on AUEagles.com. Good afternoon, everybody.